Tonight on Ctv3 News, police investigate chopping incident in Shaibe village, leaving elderly man hospitalized. Prime Minister John Briceño responds to cane farmers' calls for industry support amid sugar crisis. The Belize unions and government reach agreement after weeks of dispute, securing the 8.5% salary increase. Prime Minister Briceño acknowledges the efforts of both sides. And Prime Minister John Briceño celebrates closing of Central Summer Sports Camp with surprise visit from NBA star Fred Van Vliet. These are some of the stories we have for you tonight in our newscast for Thursday, July 3rd, 2025.
Let's all be safe during the rainy season. Belize Electricity Limited reminds you that heavy rains can cause flooding in your neighborhood and on roads. Avoid driving or walking in flooded areas, which can have hidden dangers such as debris and fallen power lines. Belize Electricity Limited cares about your safety. Please stay safe.
Good evening, with your newscast, also simulcast on Fiesta FM 106.7. I am Jaden Gamis. On Tuesday, we told you about the recent joint declaration issued by the 4 Northern Cane Farmers Association on the current sugar crisis facing the North. In their joint declaration, the associations highlighted 3 key resolutions surrounding the area of molasses, the local price of domestic sugar, and the electricity generation from bagash, which they believe would help to improve the industry and cane farmer viability in particular. Reacting to the recommendations made by the associations, Prime Minister John Briceño expressed his government's willingness to support the industry's recovery.
We have looked at it, and certainly something that we are prepared to take a look at. We have already agreed that the price of sugar, or consumption sugar locally, has to go up. The price is about a third of what it is in Chetumal and in Guatemala. So a lot of our sugar is being taken illegally into Mexico and Guatemala, and then we run out of sugar. And so to be able to offset that, we have to raise it a bit. But when you raise it a bit, then the farmers get more. The farmers are suggesting that they want to put some of that money to be put in the sustainable trust fund. And if that's what they want to do, that's up to them, because 65% of the price goes to them. Now, it's voluntary, so it's something that if they want to do, we would support.
However, Prime Minister Briceño also addressed one of the more contentious points raised by the associations, which is the potential increase in energy sales from Belcogen to Belize Electricity Limited, BEL.
And the increase in energy, would that be something feasible?
Well, what has happened is that BEL has been losing money because of the increase of energy, the shortage of energy in Mexico, and so the prices have been going up. What we've been doing is working with different companies. We just signed a purchase agreement with Babcoal. It's for solar, and that will start to help the prices to go up. So the prices may go up a little, but then once we start to get more solar in the system, we expect that prices are going to go down.
Ministry officials, including the Minister of Agriculture, met with the cane farmers today to discuss a way forward, including the recent declaration made by the associations. And in response to the recent joint declaration by the 4 Northern Cane Farmer Associations, in which they call for an increase in the price of local sugar, Today, Bowen & Bowen Limited issued a release raising alarms over the request made by the cane farmers. In their statement, the company first underscored the importance of the sugar industry to Belize's economy, noting its critical role in supporting the livelihoods and contributing to national agriculture output. As one of the largest local purchasers of Belize sugar, Bowen & Bowen emphasized its ongoing reliance on the local industry to produce high-quality goods for consumers. The company, however, warns that any increase in the price of local sugar could hurt the competitiveness of Belizean-made products, particularly when compared to cheaper imported alternatives. Such changes, they noted, could impact overall sales volumes, something that benefits both the industry and cane farmers when protected. While acknowledging that the government of Belize already assists the sector through mechanisms like the Revenue Replacement Duty (RRD) on certain imports, Bowen & Bowen cautioned that further price hikes could lead to higher production costs for manufacturers, making their products less attractive on the market. This in turn could push the government to raise duties even further to protect local interests. Additionally, the company flagged the risk of increased contraband and smuggling if the price gap between local and imported sugar continues to widen. These challenges, they argued, could negatively impact the sugar industry's revenue and called for enhanced enforcement by authorities. Rather than focusing solely on raising prices in the local market, Bowen & Bowen is advocating for improved efficiency within the industry, specifically by boosting sugarcane yields per acre to align more closely with regional standards. They argue that such a strategy would increase farmer revenue and reduce per-ton production costs, helping Belize remain competitive while keeping consumer prices stable. Citing a recent report by Belize Sugar Industries Limited, the company noted that Belize currently records the lowest sugarcane yield per acre in Central America. Bowen & Bowen concluded by affirming its continued engagement in the sector and its commitment to closely monitoring developments and the policy outcomes. After weeks of intense negotiations between the joint unions and the government of Belize, which led to road blockages and organized demonstrations, the dispute finally came to an end this week as the unions agreed to accept the final proposal by the government. That proposal included an 8.5% salary increase over a 2-year period with an initial amount of 4.5% by October of this year. After having rejected 2 previous proposals by the government side, the unions voted over the weekend to accept the final offer, which will see them meet their initial goal of 8.5% salary increase in only 2 years. As for the government, Prime Minister John Briceño says that the resolution to the long-standing trade dispute with the joint unions was achieved through mutual respect and good faith negotiations. According to the Prime Minister, both sides were able to set aside differences and engage in open and constructive dialogue, which ultimately led to a fair and balanced outcome. He acknowledged the efforts made by union leaders and government representatives to work collaboratively in the best interest of the public officers and the country.
And it's unfortunate that they felt that they had to go down that road. We never said we were not going to give them a raise. We, as I always said, we wish we can give them more, but we have to live with what we have. Well, it was a long negotiation. It sometimes used to get testy at times, but we negotiate in good faith, and I believe that that's what happened.
Our authorities are currently investigating a violent chopping incident that resulted in a 70-year-old man sustaining injuries and being hospitalized. The incident occurred early this morning around 10:10 in the morning, prompting a swift response from authorities. Upon arriving at the scene, police found Porfirio Esteban Copo with multiple chop wounds to his body. He was immediately transported to the Corozal Community Hospital for urgent medical treatment. Preliminary investigations indicate that the altercation took place shortly before the police response. Around 10 a.m., Kapo was leaving a nearby store when he was involved in a confrontation with an unidentified male. During the altercation, Kapo reportedly drew a machete, which was later found to be the source of his injuries. After the confrontation, Kapo was seen riding away on his bicycle, but soon collapsed inside a yard approximately 100 feet from where the incident initially occurred. Kapo's current condition is stable, and he remains under medical care as authorities continue their investigation into the circumstances surrounding the attack. Police are urging anyone with information about the incident or the suspect to come forward to aid in their inquiries. Coming up next, the Ministry of Health clarifies false social media claims on food security in Belize. Stay tuned.
Attention farmers, the New World screwworm is a serious threat to livestock, pets, wildlife, and humans. It causes yield losses, damages the quality of meat and skins, and can even kill them if left untreated. Check your animals daily. If you see any wounds on them, treat them immediately. Prevention is key. Apply approved healing and fly repellents to the navel of newborn animals after dehorning, ear tagging, or any other practice that leaves wounds on your animals to ensure your animals' well-being. If you notice worms in unusual wounds, report them immediately. Call Baha at 824-4872 or text or WhatsApp 670-7003 or call your nearest Ministry of Agriculture office. And don't forget, never transport or receive animals with injuries. Together, we will prevent the spread of this dangerous disease. This message was brought to you by Baha, OIRSA, AICA, USDA, and the Ministry of Agriculture, Food Security and Enterprise.
Today we stand at the threshold of progress, having witnessed the physical transformation of this laboratory into a cutting-edge facility that will enhance healthcare services in Belize.
This is an initiative that marks another key achievement of the European Union-funded Health Sector Support Program Belize project, one of the largest health sector initiatives in the country.
I would like to thank our implementing partners, the Pan-American Health Organization and the Ministry of Health and Wellness for the remarkable work that you are doing in the implementation of this project.
With a total investment of over $1.1 million, including the installation of solar panels in the coming months, the Central Medical Laboratory now stands as a model of smart health infrastructure. These improvements go far beyond aesthetics. They address years of structural deterioration, fire damage, and operational limitations. From mold remediation and advanced air systems to new safety features, upgraded electrical and water systems, flood risk mitigation, energy efficient fixtures, and even an expanded